I use these settings to improve my freestyle and competitive playing over 100%. These settings will either take you to the next rank or improve your freestyle ability drastically. I've done freestyle for a couple years in tournaments against the likes of Jaxi, TX and many others. These settings are ones I've created through all of the years of trial and error, so make sure to stay to the end of the video to see all of my settings. Before I get into the settings, like and comment to push this video on the algorithm and to hit my like target of 50 likes in this video. So here is all of my settings. I'm going to start on these. So my gameplay, I've got vertical, cross-platform. None of these really matter too much. I think some of these aren't default, but I've changed them a bit. But you've mainly come for the camera settings and the control settings. And I'll show you them now. So I'm going to show you what all of them do in free play and why I've got it like that. The first one is camera shake. So I'm going to show you in free play why I've got the settings like this, and I'll be showing you all of my settings. So starting off with my camera setting, camera shake off obviously. Field of view 110, some people do have it at like 100. That's for air dribbles and flip resets, but I've got it at 110. Distance I've got 240. A lot of the time I do have it at like 220 or something. I find that a lot, I like it a lot more. Maybe if I'm doing comp I put it up to like 260, but for freestyle I've always got it at 240. This is so my camera's close to my car. I prefer this for air dribbles. I prefer this for flip resets. I basically prefer it for everything. So if I have it at 260, I prefer that for musty flicks and I prefer it for redirects. But I always have it around 240 because I'm most of the time doing flip resets or something like that. So I'd prefer it for musty flicks, have a nice musty there. So I have this on 240, but you can have it 260 or 250 if you want to do redirects. The height I've got 100. I like this because my car is so much lower down, so I can dribble a lot better. Some people have it at 110. I feel like that's mainly for comp. If I'm doing comp, I always have it around 110. Because you can see above the car as well. Let's say you're doing flip resets. You don't want the camera right next to your car. You want it above the car. So if you're doing flip resets, I'd recommend having it at 110. And I wouldn't have it at 100. But I like 100 because it's all around the best one by far in my opinion. You can do dribbles, you can do flex, you can do anything you want. The next one is angle. I've got my angle at -4. You can have, if you're doing flip resets, some people have it like -8, -9. So if you're mainly a flip reset person, put it on -9 and you can just see completely. It gets so much better when it's at -9. You can have it at -5 as well, or -3. A lot of people have it at -3. I personally like -4 the most by a long way. Then stiffness. If you've got a really low stiffness, the camera doesn't move away from your car when you're supersonic. And if your stiffness is on 0, the camera moves away from your car at supersonic. Because I like the car so close to my camera when I'm doing air dribbles and stuff like that. I always have it more stiff. So I've always got around 0.4. This is so I can air dribble and my camera's not just moving away from me. In comp, you want your stiffness a lot lower. If you're doing musty flicks, if you're doing redirects, you want your stiffness lower. But if you're doing air dribbles, I've always liked having the stiffness closer to 1. So that's why I've always got it at 0.4. These bottom two here, these don't matter at all really. The main reason I have these is to make the clips look as clean as possible. So I do a no flip and the camera comes away from the ball straight away. That's why I have these, just to make my clips a lot cleaner. I recommend you have them as well. They don't really matter too much. Then finally, inverted swivel. This one I actually think it is very useful. A lot of people just think, who cares about that? No one uses it. It's like camera shake, everyone just leaves it off. Because it does actually help you with your air dribbles and flip resets. It's the way the camera swivels on top of your car. I just prefer it so much for air dribbles. You can have it off if you want. It's another one of those where it can be personal preference, but I personally just prefer having it on by a lot. I've also had a lot of other people tell me that they prefer it a lot as well. So overall, put the inverted swivel on. So that's all of my camera settings. Here's all of my freestyle camera settings. If you've got Baxmod, you can open this and you can see all of the pros camera settings. I do recommend that if you've got Baxmod. I never bother to even put Baxmod on, so I don't care. Here's my key bindings. Nothing really to say about it. A lot of people have boost on either R1 or RB. I don't like that, just put it on B. Settings don't matter at all, it's just whatever you're used to. There's no right settings, just have what you're used to. The same with camera settings as well. I know I clickbaited a bit at the start, but they really don't matter at all. It's literally just your mechanics and what you're used to. So I recommend just keep your settings the same. No one cares less if you've got boost on RB or B. Just do whatever. So here's all of my settings here. Nothing special. Mostly all of them are default, to be honest, but I've just changed the air roll around a bit. Steering sense I've got 2, aerial sense I've got 2. These, the lower down you put them, the more stiff your car will be. So let's say I put it right up, let's say to like this. My car's just going to drive around so much more sensitive. I put both of them up so you can see. It feels completely different, like I can barely even control my car. Especially when you're doing like air dribbles and stuff, it's so sensitive. Technically it is better to have higher sensitivity, but I've always preferred to just have really low sensitivity. So I always have it right on 2. That one on 2 and this one on 2. A lot of people have it really high up. The further high you go, the better for musty flicks and redirects. The better lower you go, the better it is for air dribbles. So I've got a middle ground where it's good for air dribbles and it's good for musty flicks. Controller dead zone, I've got it at 0.15. Some people say you have to have it at 0.3 for stalling. You don't. I've known people who've got it at 0.01 and they can stall 10 out of 10 times. It really doesn't matter. I just have 0.15 because that's what I'm used to, that's what I like. This, you see some people have it right up here, you see some people have it right down there. I just like the middle ground of 0.3. That's the best for me. I recommend you have these as well. I don't see... There's not too much point changing it. You may as well just have these what you're used to. And that's basically all of the useful things. You can have controller vibration obviously disabled. I don't use mouse and keyboard, so I couldn't care less for these. Interface. Name scale a bit higher, so that's mainly for comp, so you can see your teammates and opponents' names. These, they're all the same except time updates only, and you can change the boost indicator here as well. So if you see people coloured boost indicators, it's that there. Then here's what I do. I have my settings. I turn every single thing to performance like that. All of those like this. That's just the best by far, to be honest. You can put these on high quality, but my computer's so rubbish that it just completely lags out, frames everywhere. So I just have everything turned off. Audio, I normally listen to music whilst I'm playing, so I just put it right at 0. I couldn't care less for game sound, couldn't care less for comp, so if you're doing comp then you have to have your gameplay up a bit, but I couldn't care less, to be honest. And here's the chat, nothing special. So that's everything for this video, so make sure to like and comment on this video and say if you like these settings or not and what you want to see in the future. See you.